10 seconds are left before we will see drivers griding on up in full force on the starting grid. The Mid-Ohio No-No-Go-Go about to reach its peak in action. There's very little that is more intense than a standing start at a race like this. And we'll see what's in store for us here in the next 1 hour and who will find their way up on top. Taking a rundown then of how this race will pan on out. It's going to be a good drive for all involved, and starting on pole position this afternoon, it is going to be none other than Todd Baddoll alongside Aaron Thacker. Darren Byron was in third with Clayton in fourth, Fleming in fifth, Kasich sixth, Wright seventh, Bueller eighth, Ronenberg ninth, and Chris Hannigan rounds out the top 10. From there, it's Austin Tucker and Chris Flams. They are the 12 drivers that found themselves on the down and out in this one. And moving down through the field, from there, you're going to have none other than Ron Wolf, Nate Brooker, Evan Campbell, Justin Hall, Ryan Verhulst, Josh Free, Jeremy Castro, and Tyler Carlton. Tyler Augustino, Ringo Harrison, Jason Lee, Greg Beckman, Antonio Alvarez, Ben Williams, Carson Catlin, Matthew Dupuis, Shane Cameron, Kyle Smith, Stephen Purcell, Adam Joseph Milhot, Tyler Vietnam, and Tanner Klein. David Elkin, Jordan Babcock, Blake Gamble, Giovanni Romano, Alex Cofford, and Corey Barrett close out the field.
Ooh, 40-car field here tonight from the Mid-Ohio Raceway. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a good race here. I should say Mid-Ohio Sports Car now. It's a little bit different of a name for the Mid-Ohio Road Course, but looking forward to see what Todd Baddoll can do after earning that flip. Right, we've been talking about how last week we saw Ron Wolf be able to get the flip, win the race. I don't think it's going to happen again, but hey, Todd Baddoll's got every opportunity to prove me wrong here tonight for Mid-Ohio. Let's see if he can stay up there and run a good defensive race.
Just waiting on Ford to grid on up. Wright, Dupuis, Purcell, Cofford, and Beckman are the bunch that we're waiting on. Clayton has gridded on up, now waiting on Beckman and Purcell. Now just Purcell. He's got 10 seconds, or he will be starting his second feature this season from pit road. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stephen Purcell misses the call, and well, with that, it's time to get the party started once again. The revs build, the lights flick on. And it's go for the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Cars. Another good getaway from Tom Baddoll on the takeoff down towards turn number 1. Cuts off the run from Darren By side by side with Baddoll. Tom Baddoll gets a terrible launch. He misses the shift. Thacker's in the lead at the end of turn number 1. Now making his way up the straight towards the keyhole. It's going to be a huge race zone. Expect calamity here in turn number 2. Oh, contact as Clayton goes in deep. Clayton sends it to the number 2 spot. Some cars going 3 wide, and so far throughout the opening couple of corners, we are clean and green. 2 off the road out of turn 2.
Oh yeah, accident coming out of turn number 2. 2 cars parked up against the outside wall trying to get the ship righted, but Todd Baddoll, like you mentioned at first, it looked like he had a decent getaway, but I feel like he just hit the rev limiter or stayed on the chip for too long and was not able to get through the gears. Ended up losing a couple positions coming out of turn 2 as well. Kind of settled back into third, but tough start for Todd Baddoll. You would expect starting on the pole, man, you got to at least come out of turn number 1 with the lead, but instead it's Aaron Thacker leading the way.
Aaron Thacker leading the way as we continue to fight our way through lap number 1 of this race. So far, other than that 2-car incident, a very clean start. All things considered, that was Nate Brooker and Chris Flams that both went off the road. This is what happened to them. Bit of a bottleneck up the road, and Flams just turns across the nose of Brooker, straightened out way too early, and they did keep it off the wall.
Yeah, Flams, this is the second week in a row, I think. Both races at the beginning of the season, Flams has gone off on lap number 1, so it hasn't been the start to the season that Chris Flams has really won it. I mean, he had a good heat race, right? I mean, he was able to win the heat race, starts in 12th for the main event and instantly off the racetrack all the way to the back. So all those points that he made up in the heat race, well, they're basically completely gone. I mean, he's all the way at the back of the field. It's going to be so tough to be able to get back through in the top 15 again.
Several drivers still embroiled in side-by-side dogfights. There's Giovanni Romano already up 12 at the end of lap number 1. He is up to 26th now, and he is trying to make some moves. He just got around Catlin. He also got around Crawford critically. Crawford also cutting his way through. He is up 11.
But these guys, I said it was going to be a little bit more difficult this week than I thought it was last week for these guys to get through the field. Obviously, the first couple laps, everybody bunched up. Some cars going off the racetrack. They've been able to make up 11, 12 positions. But it's all about the next handful of laps. You know, whenever this field gets spread out, are they still going to have that same amount of pace, the same amount of ease to be able to get up to each car, put them down as quick as they catch them? So we'll have to wait and see with Romano and Crawford. And how hard do they fight each other? Do they cost each other a lot of time? But we'll focus on them a little bit later because the battle for the race lead is currently heating up. Thacker, Clayton, Madole, all under a blanket.
Yeah, Aaron Thacker losing out a lot of ground this lap. I think he might have stalled out on his pace, and now Brooks Clayton turning up the pressure in the Schnitzengigel number 9 entry as he makes his way to the front straightaway. Thacker continuing to go on a strong drive. 3 minutes in, 2 laps in, and already the fight for the lead is back on. Tom Badol looking for some redemption after a horrid race start. Trying to right the ship after starting on the pole for this main event. Just had a terrible start, but now he's back to the inside of Brooks Clayton coming out of turn number 2. Looking to take second place back. So Madole might have been terrible off the get-go, but he might be getting himself back up to second into the chicane as we're getting a look back at his start. You can see halfway decent, doesn't look terrible, hasn't lost the lead yet, but finally Thacker just gets through the gears better, and so does the 22 Darren Body on the outside as well. I mean, Madole just about caught sleeping, it seemed like. Might have just been a little bit down on the reaction time, and that's how much that can cost you early on. Now you got Flams and Darren By side as he enter the roller coaster section of the racetrack. Fleming and By still duking it out, still going side by side as we work through the S's at turns 4, 5, 6, 7. We are now up through 9 and entering Thunder Valley.
Oh, and not a lot of field spread from about 4th on back to the 12th place position. I mean, all these guys within 2 seconds, 8 cars, just nose to tail as we come through Sector 3 here on lap number 3 from Mid-Ohio. Fleming currently hanging on to that 4th place spot, but man, that back number is filled with Darren By, and then even further back, I mean, just little 2x2 packs, and then still up towards the front, that 2nd place position. Madole's gotten it away from Clayton, so Madole fell back to 4th on that opening lap. He's taken 2 of those positions back, and now he's going to try to run down Aaron Thacker to try to get that race lead back away from him.
That's a big ask, though, right now, because Thacker, 1.4 seconds up the road. It's not going to be easy to run that down, especially with Brooks Clayton hounding him like that. Almost a bit of contact there down in turn number 2 at the keyhole. Diving back through this field, look at Eric Ronenberg trying to fend off Casey. Casey takes one round the outside, and now Bueller trying to put them under pressure as well.
Side by side coming down towards the chicane. Ronenberg down to the inside, trying to take this position away, but he just did not drive it in there too deep. Kasich gonna fly around the outside and try to give himself enough of a headway over the hill to be able to take the position, and he's gonna be able to do it on Ronenberg. Looking back at the 52, oh, coming back onto the racetrack and taking out Gabriel, coming out of turn number 1.
That was Dave Elkin that went around, and now Tyler Vietnam having it off at the back of the field. It was actually a really good race start, all things considered. Started to get some action now. Here's Tyler Augustino and Tyler Carlton. Battle of the Tylers up over the hill. We got 1.3 seconds up to Jeremy Castro up the road. This is a dogfight for 18.
Yeah, Augustino Carlton duking it out, coming down to the fast left-hander here. Trying to get down to the last sector of the racetrack, but it looks like that high leader car on the inside is going to be able to take a position, but no, the over-under coming back to the apex. What a move from the 69 of Tyler Augustino to get that one done. That was textbook.
Beautiful. Augustino baiting Carlton into that move. That was a phenomenal pass, and now look at this, 3 wide in a turn number 1. Contact, look down, Alvarez hard into the wall on the right-hand side. He's going to get it back rolling, still 3 wide. He's forced off the track again. And now he's around and fully into the fence.
My goodness, so heartbreaking for Alvarez. He was, I mean, he's just stuck on the outside, gets shoved into the fence, and then just tries to have a halfway decent rejoin, and Romano doesn't really give him any room on the exit of the corner. And I mean, you could see the little rallycross jump that apparently we have through the grass here in Mid-Ohio. Nothing Alvarez could do. I mean, he just hit that big jump in the grass, and that car was sideways faster than he could even think. So tough break for Alvarez in his first race here. Kind of getting bullied a little bit from the rear league regulars.
Harrison, Beckman, Cofford, Romano, and Williams 3 wide, and now Romano getting put off the racetrack by Ben Williams. Almost they're able to get it underneath him. And this is for the spots down the field. It's a lot more chaotic back here than it is orderly, like the orderly runs up front.
Yeah, relatively orderly for the most part, especially, I mean, Packer has started to kind of grow that lead, kind of surprising me, but Clayton a little bit too deep. We were talking about the orderliness at the front of the field, but Clayton just about drove himself right off the racetrack in the last couple of corners. Loses a little bit of time to Vidal. Maybe that's that breathing room that Vidal needs to be able to run down Thacker.
Kyle Smith off the racetrack, and oh boy, that looks like technical problems to me. Kyle Smith goes off the track, and he is going to remain off the track. So yeah, looking like that's it for him. Then this is what happened to Tyler Vietnam earlier on. This was coming up to turn 4. Has he had help? He got into clams, then looking like he just tried to redress that.
Well, Nadal now cleanly into the second place position. Clayton 0.5 of a second back. Can Nadal now run down Thacker since he's got a little bit of a gap? Doesn't have the guy quite breathing down his neck as heavy as he had. A little bit further back, Kasich looking to the inside through the chicane. Close between him and Bueller. Still side by side as we come down into turn number 6 with Kasich a little bit better on the outside. No, he goes a little bit too hard, too deep down in there. Gonna lose a little bit of ground, and now Bueller gonna be able to take the spot through the double right. Had the inside groove, able to take the position. Hannigan looked like he was gonna look to the inside there to take the position of Kasich. But just was not able to put that nose in there. Was not quite close enough to the back bumper of the number 11.
This fight is going to be one that is going to be going on for a good long while. By the way, Code 60 window is officially open. We are able to, we're now able to get up to 2 Code 60 periods this race. The only question is where or if will they come into play?
Well, it's not Code 60 anymore. Remember, they changed the speed.
I still don't believe that because their rulebook doesn't say that.
Well, I'm going to wait to see for the caution to come out to see if it's still got the number changed, and then I'm going to wait to see their pace speed, and then we can make the call.
Checking back on Ryan Verhulst and Josh Freed. 14th and 15th place. They are going to get back single file, but less than a 10.5 between them as Freed tucks into the draft of Verhulst. And he thought about looking low, but with that alignment covered off, it's going to look high. No dice for him. There will be a move behind. Jason Lee trying to make one up on Castro.
Yeah, Lee down to the inside through 4. Wasn't able to get the move done. Now shaky on the outside of 5, and he might end up losing a position. That was scary there for Jason Lee. Now diving it back up the inside of Carlton up on the curb. Both these guys side by side, but Carlton's going to take the spot.
Jason Lee, though, able to wrangle that car back under control, so not a bad run for him by any stretch of the means. He's able to get himself up and working, which is exactly what he needed to do if he wanted to keep himself secure. Now he's under fire, though, from one Giovanni Romano. No, sorry, that was Coffer that just got around him. Now he's under fire. Romano, and he's turned by Romano! Lee spins off the track at the carousel.
Jason Lee trying to fill the hole, but there just really wasn't a hole there for him to fill. Romano was filling it pretty quick. I felt like maybe Lee just pinched him ever so slightly too much. I don't really think that one was on Romano. Romano trying to come through, fill the gap. But ultimately, it's Jason Lee sent sideways off the racetrack. Didn't lose too many positions, but it's still a little bit worse than it would have been if he would have just given the spot to Romano.
On board is Ryan Verhulst as he tries to run down Josh Freed up the road. Now 2/10 between them. We do get a pretty big draft pull down the stretch here. Looking for the inside. Can't get close enough to come in.
Man, he is all over the back bumper coming down to the turn number 4. Doing everything he can to try to make a move. Here Castro now side by side with Cofford. So, the two rear chasers coming up through the field relatively fast, man. Only 12 minutes into this thing. Cofford's into 19th. And it looks like Romano's going to be taking 20th away from Jeremy Castro any second now. Wasn't able to get to the inside there through that corner. Going to give Crawford some breathing space. Putting back on Scott Fleming.
Yep, this was the pass for third. Scott Fleming making the move on Brooks Clayton. How about that? Round the outside on the exit of the roller coaster section. That was a phenomenal overtake for him. And now another one, because here is Chris Hannigan fighting out with Jake Kasich side by side. And look at this, Austin Tucker thinking about three, and all of a sudden offense turns to defense for Kasich.
Kasich getting passed by Hannigan, and now looks like he's going to lose another position here coming out of turn number one. Still side by side with Austin Tucker. Kasich with a better run on the exit. Able to kind of get that nose out in front, coming down into turn number two, squeezing them out to the outside of the racetrack before they come down. And late dive there from Kasich, trying to get the spot back from Chris Hannigan coming through turn two. Didn't think that there was anything in that, but Hannigan just slowed through the apex of the corner, giving Kasich another opportunity, and here comes Ron Wolf, last week's winner.
Could have gotten a little bit loose. It's easy to happen. We saw that happen all through qualifying. Wolf giving a huge shove to the back of Chris Hannigan as Hannigan sends it in deep into turn four, trying to hang on to the spot. Kasich round the long way of 5, setting ourselves up for 6. Hannigan's through in 6, and Kasich will hang on as well. And now it's between Ron Wolf and Austin Tucker. Wolf hangs on to the spot, and something has happened to Nate Brooker.
Oh! Wolf just got spun. Ron Wolf just got spun around as soon as you cut the camera. Oh no! Wolf and I believe it was Justin Hall both taking each other out. It might have been Austin Tucker, both taking each other out coming through 7.
And wow, just a shot to the shorts from Tucker to Wolf sends them both off the track.
I'm shocked. It's not typically a mistake you see from Austin Tucker, but I mean, like you said, he just hit him in the back end coming through the corner, and honestly, nothing Ron Wolf could do. I mean, maybe he had checked up right beforehand. Maybe he got a little loose, but
right there, tap the
brakes. You can see little brake check. He's just trying to fill the gap, and honestly, watching it from that onboard, I don't know if there was really much Tucker could have done.
Look at Tomador with an aggressive weave down the stretch, trying to fill Madul's mirrors and keep him guessing on where he's going to try to attack. Chris Bright now to the inside of Brooks Clayton, picks off another one. As we continue to see this battle escalate more and more, Thacker now pulling 3 seconds out. We might very well get one of those situations where somebody that got in on an invert just runs away with it.
Well, to be fair, Thacker got second, right? It's not like we're seeing quite the same as last week, but to your point, he is running away with it. 3-second lead that he's got over Todd Madol right now. I mean, that's a heck of a first 15 minutes from Aaron Thacker. Side by side, no, where's that Ronenberg getting sent into the barriers?
Hard hit right into the tires for Ronenberg. He's kind of caught at a very awkward angle now as he tries to reset. He'll back up over the crest and back into the fence again as he gets himself back rolling. But yeah, you're right, a huge hit for Ronenberg.
I don't know if that was him taking a little bit too much of the racetrack coming down into that little kink. We'll see coming out of turn number 6, widening. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Ronenberg was just widening out the exit a little bit too much, even with the car that he had to his left side there. Ultimately, just really tight racing between the two, a little bit of door contact, but unfortunately, just offset ever so slightly enough to where he got turned across the nose of the driver that was next to him, rather than it just being a little bit of door banging. But again, side by side, coming down into turn number 2, Darren Bai in that number 22 on the outside, trying to get that position away from Fleming using the outside of turn 2. Looks like he might have the run coming off the corner, but Bai just a little bit too tight on exit. They're going to stay even down the straight.
Dead even in the battle for the number 3 spot. Bai, Fleming, still side by side into turn number 4. We hit the braking zone. And Darren Bai thought he might have had it, but he pulled it a bit too deep. Fleming able to wrangle that spot around the outside. Can he dive it in for 6? No, Darren Bai secures 3rd.
Great run from Darren Bai so far. One of the better runs that we've seen from him in the beer league since we took over about 6 seasons ago, running up into the top 3. I don't know if we've gotten to interview Darren Bai yet in the beer league since we've been here. So heck of a run so far from the driver, the number 22. Still obviously about three-fourths of the race to go, but great start from the driver.
15th and 16th, both still under a blanket as Campbell and Crawford having some contact as, boy, oh boy, Campbell getting into it a little bit here. Alex Harrison going to lose a couple of positions down to 20th place. Meanwhile, one car around the high side. That's Agostino trying to keep Romano at bay.
Yeah, Agostino, we saw him make a pretty crazy move earlier to pick up a spot, but here it's Romano diving down to the inside in turn number 1, taking the top 15 position away from Tyler Agostino, moving himself up to 15th. Crawford right in front of him in 14th. So both these guys that came from the back of the field doing a little bit better than I thought they were going to. I thought it would be a little bit more difficult here in Mid-Ohio for them to come for the field, but they're making pretty short work of the field so far, but they're still losing time to the race leader. Thacker's just got a lot of pace here.
Campbell, Romano, side by side. They're going to bump draft around Alex Crawford. Try to at least. Crawford, though, still holding the inside, and can he secure 13? Oh, wow, easily. Now Romano makes the look to get around Campbell, send him a little deep into the corner. Now Romano looking for the inside. This is into turn 6, now through 7, up the hill to 8. Romano, look out, up on the curb. He's going to make a bit of door contact. Campbell pinches a bit in response. But a great battle here. Now Romano gets turned off the racetrack into the concrete.
Oh my goodness, Romano. Honestly, he gave plenty of room on the outside, but Campbell just pinched him coming over the exit. I talked about it earlier. You just don't quite know where that edge of the racetrack is whenever you're coming over the hill. You don't know quite how far you can push it to the exit. Well, the car on the outside, Campbell just honestly pinching Romano too tight coming over that crest.
Something going awry here for Matthew Dupuis as he goes for a slide. That is on the exit of turn 2, I want to say. He's getting himself sorted, and here comes Blake Gambrill, same place on the racetrack. And he just loses it all by himself.
Kind of a weird spot for Gamble to lose the back end there. Like you said, all by yourself, kind of towards the back. A little bit of a weird one for Gambrill, but not on board, but looking at Scott Fleming here, right on the back bumper of Darren Bailly. Ever since Bailly got past him, they haven't separated, right? Both these guys just about even pace, and even with Todd Badol in front of them as well, I'm really shocked to see Aaron Thacker build out a 5-second lead in 20 minutes. I cannot believe, he finished in 11th place in the heat race. It's not like we thought that he had unbelievable pace, but he's absolutely showing that he does right now. Looks like the 52 in his beer league debut is not having the best one. David Elkin actually, I believe we might have seen David Elkin a couple times, but
yeah, we have.
Not a great race here for Mid-Ohio for David.
And he's called it quits as well, by the way. He has taken the tow once he got into pit road. He's done for the night.
Tough race for David, but 20 minutes in, and if you're just not feeling the racetrack with the car combo, sometimes it's better to give it up and hit the showers a little bit earlier, get to bed, have a nice night's sleep before your work day tomorrow.
Trouble off the road, Tyler Vietnam and Blake Gambrill again. Oh,
goodness.
What was that?
I think Gambrill might be the next one to take a tow. Yep, there it is.
You're not happy with that one, evidently. Oh, that was Elkin, sorry. This is Tyler Vietnam. Find out what happened to Vietnam. Clipping the grass on the way in. That ain't the right way to do it. Spins it out, and then Blake Gambrill. Same deal, just off the track at conveniently at the same time, and he was done with it.
Yeah, Gambrill's been off the racetrack a good chunk tonight, right? So it's not too surprising to see him pull it in all at once. Tough break to see a couple of guys do it back to back, though. It's obviously, like I mentioned in the pre-race, though, it's a tough technical racetrack, very, very tough. A lot of blind corners, blind exits. Just kind of leads itself to being one of the more difficult racetracks, especially whenever you're all bunched up in a group like this. Just a couple incidents, maybe it's time to call it quits. You always hope to maybe get that code 60 to help you out.
No, we still might get it. We can get it any time from now until 15 minutes ago. Look at the lunge there as Agostino trying to get around Verhulst and might have him here in the carousel. Out of the final corner, Agostino cuts him off, and Agostino gets up to 13th.
Agostino's made some good moves here tonight. I know that he's not, the absolute quickest out here, only running in the 13th place spot. I know that he started a little bit further back, not all the way at the back, but, mid-pack or so for Agostino, starting 21st. He's got himself up to 13th, right? He's made some really, really daring moves, really interesting moves to watch from the broadcast booth. So I can't wait to see if Agostino can maybe get himself into the top 10. Still probably one more position behind him. He'll lose by the end of the night with Romano coming back through the field after that spin from earlier, as we see one car off the racetrack coming back on, able to get the all four tires back onto the tarmac. But we'll have to wait and see coming down to turn number 4 what Romano can do. I believe he's side by side with Austin Tucker for 20th, a little bit further back coming down to 4.
Yeah, Giovanni Romano playing on hard mode this afternoon as he got up near the front with Crawford, and now he's fallen all the way back. Honestly, he could probably be around the 12th place spot right now with Alex Crawford if it hadn't been for what happened to him earlier on. Now we see him trying to claw his way back into the top 20. He has got a side-by-side battle between Tucker and Cameron up the road, and that's going to go right for Tucker. Tucker loose. Romano sneaks through.
Further up, looking at Chris Hannigan running in the top 10, currently in the 7th place position. He's got 2 cars right in front of him doing battle. Chris Bright, Alexander Bueller going at it for the 5th place position. Last spot inside of the top 5. Bueller trying to get a good run out of turn number 1 to be able to give himself a chance down to the turn 2 with the draft, but don't think he's going to be close enough as we go back further back to Castro and Williams. Williams a little bit more narrow through turn 1, kind of straddling that curving on the inside, trying to find some speed at lower than anybody else has gone all night.
Come on, Topadol is off. The 2nd place runner off the road, and that is just shaking up this battle for 3rd on down.
What in the world has happened to Todd Madole just stopping the car
that looks
right
like
off of the
mechanical.
racing surface? Now side by side for the 2nd place position, Darren Bice, Scott Fleming, and 3 wide for 4th, right behind him as well. Who's going to come out of this okay? Chris Bright trying to back out from the middle. And Chris Hannigan almost off the racetrack. Looks like Darren Bice is going to take 2nd. Scott Fleming in 3rd. Brooks Clayton able to slide through into 4th. And Bueller is going to take that 5th place spot.
That was an aggressive battle there. A bit of bumper cars going on there. What happened to Madole? He is still off the racetrack, by the way, and yeah, that's mechanical. That is 100% some kind of system failure there for Madole. Probably had a screen go out.
Yeah, no chance. He just breaks in the middle. I mean,
if
he's got his screen on, his wheel and pedals all on, no chance. He's just slamming on the brakes in the middle of the corner. Has every bit of the makings of a turned off screen or a wheel malfunction that slammed the brakes out of absolutely nowhere. So tough break for Madole, who was running up in 2nd. Basically throughout the entirety of this race. I know he had that mistake on lap number 1 from the pole, losing a couple of positions, but he did a good job recovering up to 2nd and just got bit by the bad luck wheel.
Couple of incidents here. Adam Joseph Mailhot having a bit of a spin. This is up over the rise, enter the 3rd sector. Well, how about that? He actually caught it rather well. And then this is, that was Flams at the moment. This is Matthew Dupuis having a problem. Aaron Ronberg's in a pit road. We got pit stops starting to kick off as well. We'll get to that in just a moment, but this is Dupuis.
We doing a little flick spin off the edge, getting the back end spun back around, losing a handful of seconds there off of that little bit of an incident. Looking at the Serial Team 6 car now, Chris Bright just inside of the top 5 in the 5th place position, as a couple guys starting to make their pit stops here with 34 minutes to go. Gonna be close to see if they can make it from here.
Williams, Campbell, Romano, 3 cars that are still fighting under a blanket here. We really started to see a lot of these battle packs stabilize. I think now we're going to be seeing pretty much everybody situated in these packs from here to the end, right? There's not a lot to say about what's going on at this point.
Yeah, mostly single file through the field. A couple guys still making moves. Romano and Campbell, these 2 got into it earlier. Whenever that aggressive, you just saw them sending Romano back through the field a little bit. Going to be interesting to see how aggressive will Romano be with Campbell, knowing that he was the one that cost him a whole heck of a lot of time and could cost him a shot at winning this thing, because the guy that he was fighting, Alex Crawford, getting himself into the top 10 and now looking for 9th on the inside of Josh Freed, just sending it down to the apex faster than Freed could and taking that position away from him.
Solid move there for Crawford. He is now well up into the top 10, into the 9th place spot behind. There's Romano still within view on the same straightaway. He's got Campbell, he's got Tucker behind, and Campbell lets Romano through, and Tucker takes full advantage of that. Oh boy, kind of pinching Campbell out to the right, but is able to force the issue.
Campbell trying to get back up to the back bumper of Austin Tucker here, give himself another opportunity. But Romano able to pick up a couple positions in the last couple corners, get himself back up to 16th place, but again, just so far behind Coffer, the guy that he had been fighting coming through the field, 8 seconds off of Alex Coffer, whenever they've been about equal the entire night. It's going to be tough for Romano to make that up, but back towards the front of the field, Darren Bai in the second place position, hanging on to it from Bueller, but Bueller looking down to the inside, trying to take it as we head to sector 3.
That's a bold place to make a move happen, but if there's anybody that can make it work, it's these guys that are running clean at the front. Bueller is through, easily picks off the spot for second without much of an issue. It's easy to forget that Bueller and Bai are actually in second, because this is Thacker in the lead 10 seconds, well 11 seconds now. He's just on a Sunday drive. He's playing with cheat codes, you could say.
What the hell has Aaron Thacker found in this main event?
I have no idea.
He was 11th. He was 11th in the heat race. You know, I mean, it's not like he was poor in the heat. You know, 11th place isn't bad, but it's not what you would expect to be race-winning pace.
It's definitely not where his qualifying pace was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to pull 11 seconds on the field, I mean, that's
I want to point out,
from Aaron Thacker.
Oh, trouble behind. Scott Fleming has gone around to the back of the field. I do want to point out, he is lapping about 2 to 3 tenths of a second a lap quicker than everybody else in this field. And from about 5th on back, it's over half a second a lap that he's pulling right now.
Man. I mean, he's still running a second slower than what his qualifying time was. But, you know, it's consistent that he's running that slow. And actually, you know, 3 laps ago, he actually ran faster than his qualifying time. That's why he's been able to move ahead of the field so quickly. There's actually been, heck, 5-6 lap times out of the 10 laps that he has ran tonight that have been either faster or within 1/10 of his qualifying lap time. That's why he has been able to pull out this lead to 10.5 seconds.
Scott Fleming had a little bit of help when he went around to the keyhole. And a lot of this battle here is now being split up as Alexander Bueller started to pull more of a gap out of this pack here. 30 seconds away. We're at the halfway point now. 30 minutes down, 30 minutes to go, and Tyler Agostino is in a pit road.
As Tyler Agostino comes in, I gotta say, I was actually looking at Aaron Thacker's heat race lap times. His main event lap times are even more impressive, Nolan. I mean, this is ridiculous what I'm seeing. We ran 19 laps in the main event so far, as we see a couple other guys come down pit road. One guy playing with the tire barriers coming over the the crest of turn 9 in Thunder Valley.
So this is Brooker, Carson Catlin behind. Brooker slides it by himself, and Catlin, ooh, I think gave him a little tap, but could have been worse.
But I'm going to go back to Aaron Thacker. His qualifying time was a 1:32.356. All right, that was good enough to put him 15th in qualifying. Going back his last 10 laps, he has run faster than that on 8 of them, and the 2 that he didn't run faster than that, he was only half a tenth off of that qualifying lap time. So, I mean, just unbelievably consistent from Aaron Thacker. I mean, obviously he's got the clean air. You know, if there's one guy that's going to be the most consistent, it's probably going to be the guy that's in clean air, but not this consistent. Lap after lap, I mean, it's a 32 flat, then it's a 32-3, then it's a 32-2.
We got big problems coming up over the hill. Chris Hannigan kind of getting bottled up, and now there's a huge pack, 3x3, as we work our way down and towards the third and final sector of the racetrack.
You're gonna get a bit of an issue through Thunder Valley, losing a couple of positions, but here's our race leader, Aaron Thacker, coming down pit road. So is Alexander Bueller, Darren Bai, Brooks Clayton, Chris Bright, Jake Kasich, Alex Coffer, just about the entire lead pack coming down pit road here with 28.5 minutes to go.
And now a good chunk of the second pack is in as well. So far, only the top 5 have stayed out under this under this period of race. No code 60. This is just the pit stop window. Hey, you can make it past halfway. Pit now. You're good to go the distance. No need to worry about fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. You know that if you can make it 32 minutes on the first stint, you ain't got to worry about anything. Darren Bai just about coming out side by side with a couple guys having to get out of the throttle there is the number 22. Going to lose a little bit of time down the straightaway as well. But But looking back out on the racetrack, Romano, Freed, Campbell, Fleming, Barrett still out on the racetrack, have not come down pit road. I think they're maybe hoping for a code 60 this lap, so that it's almost like a virtual safety car in the F1 races, where you can come down to the very end and everybody else is kind of slowing up.
Chris Hannigan, whoa boy, heads up, Hannigan sliding out the tail end, and this was the incident up over the hill. That is, he's gonna, oh no. Oh, there was another crash actually coming up over the rise. That was Carlton that had issues.
I thought that was going to be a bad rejoin from Hannigan, but because everybody started wrecking each other behind Hannigan, it ended up being a pretty decent rejoin, to where he didn't lose too many spots.
Probably saved him.
Still, yeah, it absolutely did. Saved him a handful of positions. He still lost about 2 or 3 out of that pack, but that entire pack could have gone right by him if they didn't have to slow down for each other.
Freed, Campbell, Fleming, Barrett into pit road. Giovanni Romano continuing to stay out. Now another couple off the road. Hannigan again, this time with Castro.
Oh, Hannigan hates turn 9, that's for sure.
Okay, admittedly that's not Hannigan's fault there.
Yeah, I think Castro might have pinched him a little bit on the apex, coming through 9 on that one. I couldn't quite tell if Hannigan came off the apex, but he looked like he was nice and tidy down on the inside. So I think Castro might have just pitched him ever so slightly more than he needed to, but tight racing between the two. Unfortunately, both of them off of the racetrack. But still, only one guy yet to pit. Giovanni Romano stretching this fuel longer than I thought was possible. Look at all the marbles on the outside too. Oh my goodness, don't go offline through there.
Well, Austin, we've got ourselves a good long race here. A lot of green flag running. Let's take a run down top to bottom and kind of reset on where things are looking right now. We'll start it off with, of course, the race leader, Giovanni Romano, now leading the way. He has not come down to pit road as of yet. Respect to him in this lap. Eric Thacker is set to be the race leader, with Bueller currently in 3rd. Then you got Casey in 4th, Clayton in 5th, Copper by Bright, Augustino, and Freed for the top 10. Romano is in a pit road.
Looking back at the 11th place position, Austin Tucker currently running there. Eric Ronenberg, who's had a couple of issues, running back in 12th. Ron Wolf, last week's winner, who's been spun out once tonight, back in 13th. Evan Campbell, who spun out Giovanni Romano earlier tonight, currently running in the 14th place position. Tyler Carlton in 15th. Ben Williams has been sent around a couple of times. He's done a good job recovering up to 16th. We've seen Scott Fleming backward in 17th. Alvarez has been backwards in 18th. I swear Shane Cameron's ranked 4 times, and he's somehow in 19th. And Ryan Burkholz rounds out the top 20.
Top half of the field is complete. Now we move back to Justin Hall in 21st, with Corey Barrett in 22nd, Harrison 23rd, Chris Hannigan back in 24th, Jason Lee 25th, Chris Flams in 26th. Right now, Flams down 14 spots. It's not been an ideal race for Flams. Beckman back to 27th, Mail Hawks 28th, Castro down 10 to 29th, with Tyler Vanden up 3 in 30th.
Nate Brooker currently running in the 31st place position. I swear he's got overtaken the night, but it's just gone sour ever since then. Then in 32nd, Matthew Dupuis. 33rd looks to be Carson Catlin. Todd Madole running in the 34th place position after running in 2nd just about all night long, but having some type of hardware issue coming out of turn 2 earlier, causing a huge stack up. Back in 35th, we got Tanner Klein, and then back in 36th is Jordan Babcock. Kyle Smith currently running in the 37th place position, a handful of laps off of the pace. And then we got Blake Gambrill off the racetrack in 38th. David Elkin also in pit road in 39th. And in 40th, Stephen Purcell did not stop.
So far, you've got yourself 35 cars still on the lead lap, and 37 that are still, goodness, I can't count, I promise. 35 on the lead lap, 37 that are running. Got a couple of cars going off the road, one of those being Eric Ronenberg, another one being Evan Campbell, and now Tom Madola's had issues as well. Let's take a look at what happened to Evan Campbell first and foremost here. Oh, getting into it big time, hard into the fence. Violent hit for Hannigan. Sorry, for Campbell. Oh, there was Chris Hannigan, though, as he actually got caught out by this, swung that one out to the left and was forced into China Beach as a result. And this was what happened to Ronenberg. Completely separate incident up over the hill. Down
in Thunder Valley, you can see that back end just stepping out, maybe a little bit too too heavy on the wheel input there, just ever so slightly tapping the brakes. You can just see that back end step around poorly there for Ronenberg here. Badol just driving it off the racetrack, taking a little bit more than he could chew, driving it in there too deep.
And he is going to take the tow back to pit road as a result. So we're now well past the halfway point. Alex Cofford is in third, Clayton fourth, Kasich back in fifth. Any sign of a Code 60 yet here, Austin?
Nothing.
Could this be the race of the season that goes caution-free?
Well, to be fair, we're only 2 races in. If we've already got a caution-free race only in the second race into this thing, I mean, that's relatively low odds for that, right? Caution-free race percentage is only, what, 12.5%?
Yeah.
So you're looking at probably about 19, 20%.
Ooh, contact! Alvarez off the track again.
Oh, poor Alvarez. Another incident where I couldn't quite tell. I was looking at my other screen, but I feel like that wasn't his fault. Hannigan, though, unable to get on the brakes in time as Alvarez rejoined the racetrack, and now Hannigan way off, looking like he's trying to find a marshal off behind the barrier.
Yeah, and that was not pretty. This is on board with the car behind Alvarez, and a bit of a hit there from Fleming, if I'm being honest, and that's what sent Alvarez around. Then when Alvarez rejoined, and he comes up, makes a bit of contact with one car, then Hannigan was already getting loose over the hill and nearly ran into the back of him.
I feel like that was more of a reaction from Hannigan trying not to run over the car that rejoined.
Oh, look out. Look, that's not going to go well. That's not going to end well.
Oh, Jason Lee stuck on the outside. Somehow these guys able to get into the corner A-okay. I thought for sure we were going to see 3 cars driving off the exit of the racetrack. Still side by side coming out of the corner, though. Jason Lee able to keep it on. McMahon, him and Flames going at it for 19. Excuse me, 20.
Almost 2/3 of the way through this race as racing action is showing no signs of slowing down yet. Coming up later in the week on Green Flag TV, only one race remains, and it's on Saturday night. The SRA IL Truck Series swings out to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hampton, Georgia 200. And then next week, the High Tide Racing League MF Racing Designs Cup Premier Series kicks off postseason. First race in the round of 12, kicking off at the Auto Club Speedway with the Ole Miss Rail Cup Series going out for their Western Swing. They'll be out in Avondale, Arizona, for the Phoenix Raceway for round number 3 of the Tuesday Night Championship. For those that are curious about the ASRO Next Gen Cup Series or the Speed Cup Series, they will both be kicking off early in February.
Tight here, 3 wide through the last sector. That doesn't work too often at Mid-Ohio. Somehow they're going to get it worked out, though. Chris Flames not able to get that position, but I got to point out, over this course of the last lap, a couple of pretty quick guys have had some internet issues. 2 quick ones getting kicked out of the server. Austin Tucker, Giovanni Romano.
Oh, boy.
Both out of the server with packet loss issues.
Wow, that is not pleasant. That's a bit of a shocker, honestly.
Yeah, we don't typically see Tucker and Romano lagging out of these things, but obviously something went awry. Both of them lagging out at just about the same exact time. I wonder if they've got the same provider.
Justin Hall, Chris Flams, side by side into turn 4. Jason Lee right behind him. Lee now trying to get in onto the mix as he's going to look for the inside, the inside turned outside, and that was not going to pan out for the number 8.
Not quite going to be able to pan out for Jason Lee. Not able to get the position. Coming down to less than 20 minutes to go. Only 4 minutes left on the caution clock. It's looking like we're not going to be getting it, but man, I'll tell you what we are getting. A whole host of black flags. 4 drivers just getting the black flag. Justin Hall, Eric Ronenberg, Matthew Dupuis, Ryan Burhulst.
Whoa,
having
look
to take a
out.
pit stop is Justin Hall. I think I see why he has black flag.
What in the world?
Jason Lee having to get checked up. Corey Barrett, what in the world? All running into the back of Justin Hall.
What happened there? Tyler Vietnin now off the road as well, further behind. What a weird incident there with Jason Lee. I'm not sure what that was all about.
Well, weird moment, you know, Hall's coming back onto the racetrack. I just feel like Lee almost didn't quite know what to do with Hall being kind of slow on the racing groove. And it just kind of stacked everybody up behind him. I'm playing a little bit of bumper cars here with them being side by side now for the 19th place spot. Corey Barrett got closest to Evan Campbell got closest to your screen there as they were going by. Trying to get clear before they get down to turn number 4, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Actually, never mind. I'll take it back. It looks like the position was given to him. Campbell able to go through, and Ronenberg also able to take the spot away from the 751 of Ringo Harrison.
Oh, contact there between Verhulst and Flams. You were on board with Verhulst at the moment of contact. And now Lee is around. Jason Lee has been spun.
Coming up through the chicane through 4 and 5, right behind Corey Barrett. Down the hill, Jason Lee looking like maybe he's just trying to make a move, set himself up for a move, gets into the back bumper of Barrett, carrying too much speed through the apex of the corner, and the back end just steps around on him after the bit of contact. It's a break for Lee, losing a little bit more ground as we see Harrison on the outside here of the number 42. Trying to pick up the spot, coming back onto the front straight away. Still stuck in the side-by-side battle. Ringo going to be able to have the position at the line there. Greg Beckman coming back on the outside, though, trying to do what he can to take the spot back a little bit further up. Another side-by-side battle coming down into turn number 2. Chris Flams on the outside trying to rip it around. Ryan Verhulst in that number 12, but Verhulst just with the better run through the center of the corner. He's going to clear himself on exit. What a good move from Verhulst, but off the racetrack. Going to give the inside back to Flams.
Chris Flams able to just hang on for now, but Ryan Verhulst not wanting to be denied. He's going to try to do everything he can. We've had a few cars going off the road. We'll get to that in just a moment. For now, oh boy, Verhulst able to avoid the 137. That will end that battle. This is what happened to Evan Campbell. This is a weird one. He went off the track several times this lap.
Exit at turn number 1, just too wide, getting some dirt on. Oh, and again, that rallycross jump that we've seen. We saw take out Alvarez earlier.
So this explains all the off and ons, because every off and on is when he crosses over that tarmac, because it counts as racetrack.
Yeah, that'll do it for you.
I was wondering, he went off track like 4 times in 30 seconds. What's happening here?
Well, there's still probably another 1 or 2 in there somewhere, I imagine, but nonetheless, he ended up getting it back on the tarmac. Gonna see if he can get a halfway decent finish. We've seen him off the racetrack a handful of times, but I gotta point out, you know, we were talking about, man, Aaron Thacker, look at that 10.5 second lead that Aaron Thacker's built up. Well, it's down to 4.5. I know 4.5 is still a pretty daggum good lead, but whenever you take into account that Bueller's chopped 6 seconds out of it in the last 20 minutes, you think, well, Bueller might be able to get there.
Look at the gaps as well. 0.4 of a second, 0.7 of a second, another 0.5 second, and then 0.8 the last lap alone. That is a monumental gap. At this rate, he is going to catch him by the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the pace to be able to do it, and we see Thacker stuck in a little bit of lap traffic. He's got some lap cars that he's going to have to get around over the course of the next couple laps, and that could prove to be pretty difficult. One of them getting out of the way here, but still costing him a bit of time. Dupuis didn't make it super easy on him, coming down to the last sector, kind of making Thacker go offline. Gonna cost him a little bit more time. That gap's down to 4 coming down the front straight.
I want to know where he's actually gaining this time from. I'm going to see if I can actually find something for that. I want to see like exactly what sectors he's gaining this time, because that is astronomical to close that in on that like that quickly.
Exactly. I mean, it felt like it took time for Thacker to build that 10.5 second lead. I don't feel like any time has gone by since that 10.5 second lead, and all of a sudden it's down to 3.8. Like, I mean, Alex Bueller is freaking flying, man. I mean, he has got the fastest lap times in the field by far right now. And even then, Crawford in third, 9 seconds back, he's running about equal with Bueller. If Bueller and Thacker get to battling, they could very well bring Crawford into this fight as well. And I got to point out, we're a minute past the caution window closing, so we are getting our first caution-free window, or caution-free race of the beer league season.
So 10th and a half there for Bueller gained in Sector 1. It's up to 2/10 gained in Sector 2. Still tracking down low, waiting for Sector 3 to flash up, which should be coming into the next corner here through Thunder Valley. There's 3. What's the gap?
Slower here.
Lost to 10th. Interesting. So lost to 10th in Sector 3.
Oh, he looks good through that last corner. Well, I say that. Bueller ends up having a really good Thacker had a really good exit out of that corner. I think Bueller did better getting into the corner, but maybe just a little bit too good. He's going to lose another 2/10 coming through sector 4. So finally, Thacker putting down a better lap than Bueller. That's the first time in what feels like about 10 laps that's happened.
Could have been lap traffic that was disrupting him there.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, lap traffic, there's a lot of give and take with it. Some laps it helps you, some laps it hurts you. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Can Bueller get that consistency back? Can he actually run down Thacker? Excuse me.
Fights on for fourth. Brooks Clayton to the inside of Jake Kasich. Sorry, no, it is Brooks Clayton to the inside of Jake Kasich. And Chris Bright is right behind. Bright with a big jump of overspeed, trying to make up a spot to get into the top 5. This here's the battle for fourth on down.
Yeah, Chris Bright, I said he was about a 6 to 12th place driver earlier in the day. He's trying to prove me wrong by doing it one better, getting himself up to the 5th place position. Currently running in 6, about where I predicted he would be. Can he get that one more spot on Brooks Clayton or Jake Kasich? All these guys under a blanket for the 4th place position. And you can't count out Darren Byte or Tyler Agostino. How about Agostino, man? Started 21st, got himself up to 8th, and we've seen him make a couple of great moves here tonight. Don't count him out for that 4th place spot.
Right now, biggest mover is any surprise, but who is in 3rd place right now with the Flying Donut Motorsports driver of Alex Crawford. Once again, on fire. He's had to work for it, though, and he had to make a lot of that up through pit stops. He kind of stalled around the 13th place spot for a good while there.
Yeah, Crawford had stalled out. Obviously, there had been a little bit of a gap between a handful of cars out on the racetrack, so it just took him some time to be able to run a few of these guys down. But once he was able to kind of get himself into the clean air after passing most of the group, he's been consistently faster than Bueller, consistently faster than Thacker. It's just, does he have enough time? I mean, he's going to have to gain 1 second every single minute just about for the rest of this race, probably about 8/10 every single minute. That's asking a lot. Even for somebody like Alex Crawford, that's a lot of time that he's got to make up on Thacker. I think it can happen if the 816 and the 58 get side by side, get to racing. But if Bueller doesn't catch Thacker, I don't see it happening. But hey, Bueller is running him down again. We were talking about how it kind of stabilized at that 4-second gap about a lap ago. Well, Bueller's cut another half of a second off of your race leader's lead right now.
Bueller has only won a single race in his beer league career in over 40 starts. It came from the Touring Car Series a little while ago. For your race leader, though, Aaron Thacker, in 37 starts, he is still winless and looking to go for win number 1 this afternoon. The closest he came was, of course, Le Mans for the SCCA Spec Racer Fords, and perhaps even closer, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park just last week. Was so close to getting a win, it was taken away from him and denied. He has never got to the league in any racing league that he is running, so he is desperate to try and get that race win. He only has 4 podiums to his name. He's trying to go for a 5th podium and trying to make this one the week he finally takes his first race win.
Yeah, last week, right, Aaron Thacker ran in 2nd just about the entire race, swapping that position back and forth with 2nd, 3rd, 4th, kind of just sitting in that area. Brooks Clayton off the racetrack, trying to get it back on, going to give the position to Chris Bright up into the top 5 and be side by side with Darren Byte now for 6th place. Going to be tough to see if Brooks can get those tires shaking back off, but looks like he's going to be able to hang on to the 6th place spot. But going back to Thacker, last week he took that race lead away with about 5 minutes left, and we thought that was it. That the race was done and dusted because it had been so hard to pass the entire time. But then his teammate, Ron Wolf, got him right back 2 laps later. Here, is it going to be similar heartbreak for Aaron Thacker? I mean, he built this gap up to 10.5 seconds, but coming down to under 9 minutes to go, and that gap is down all the way to under 2.5.
I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. I'm really rooting for Thacker here, though. I mean, you gotta root for the little guy in this situation. There's been a lot of race winners in the beer league. Thacker is not one of them. He is trying to put himself into that list, and he's got to really fight like a lion these last few laps if he wants to do that. Right now, 8.5 minutes, about 1.5 minutes a lap. I think he'd be catching him right now. If he closes in half a second a lap, he'd be closing in with about 2 to go.
Well, the thing is, we still got 6 laps to go. So, there's plenty of time. there's plenty of time for Bueller to get here. And it's hovering anywhere between 0.3 to 0.8 that he's been gaining on him over the last 10 laps or so. I mean, if he has a couple of those 0.8 gainer laps, it's over. He only needs 3 of those, and he's to Thacker. He's got 6 laps left. If I'm Thacker, I'm shaking in my boots right now. It might be the second week in a row that we could see some Thacker heartbreak.
That would be so frustrating for him, right? I mean, you heard him right. He didn't sound too happy with the second place finish. I mean, second place is good, but when your first win was right there, it's gotta be gnawing on him, knowing how close he was to victory and how much it has been stolen away. He's come close a few times. Again, remember Le Mans. That race came down to fuel mileage, and he managed to outlast a good chunk of this field to get a win. Other podium finishes that he has had within the beer league. You look in particular to one of the first seasons we ever ran with this league, with Ford Mustangs. Finished 3rd at Long Beach, a 3rd at Homestead in the late model stocks, and that is it. His best finishes have been in the late model stocks and in the Mustangs. He has not had much luck outside of that. He is desperate for something to change.
That's a bad lap. 6.5 tenths. That's really bad there from Thacker, giving up a ton of ground to Bueller. And, you know, like you mentioned, as we check out the side-by-side battle, Ronenberg around the outside through the chicanes, we've talked to Aaron Thacker almost weekly, it's felt like at times. He's gotten a ton of podiums. He's gotten probably double-digit podiums since we've started.
He has 4.
Broadcasting. Okay, it feels like a whole lot more than that.
He has 4 podiums, and 2 of them were in the last 2 seasons.
There must have been a couple of amateur or AM class winner interviews.
Oh, absolutely. There's been plenty of AM class wins.
Okay. There's been more than 4 interviews for sure. That's what's thrown me off. But he's been quick, right? He's been a consistent top 5 driver. Tonight, it looked like he was the man to beat. But the gap is down to under 1.5 seconds. What is going on behind the wheel of the 816? I mean, did he just not fill this thing with enough fuel? Is he having a fuel save? I just can't believe that there would be any other reason why he'd be giving up this much time.
He pitted on the same lap as Thacker, same lap as Crawford. In fact, same lap as pretty much half the field. So I don't think it's fuel. Unless he short-fielded the car, but that doesn't make sense because his pit stop was only about 0.3 off of everybody else. Oh, trouble behind. A couple of cars went off, Mailhawk and Verhulst.
These guys off the racetrack, gonna try to find a way back on. Looks like they're gonna find a good gap to be able to do it. As we get a replay to see what happened as we're coming down in the last 5 minutes of this one.
What was that?
What in the
Did
world?
Dupuis take him out?
Can we watch that again?
I really hope that's not what I thought it was. There's going to be some problems if it was.
I don't think it was Dupuis.
It wasn't. You're right. It was Verhulst. My bad. Here we go. On board with Ringo Harrison. No, got loose. He got loose. Okay.
Verhulst got loose, and then Ringo hit the grass with the left rear and just about did the same thing. But here at the beginning of this lap so far, Thacker's actually gained 0.2 on Bueller. He's been giving up a good chunk of time. It was down to 1.2 at the beginning of this lap. It's back up to 1.5. So has Bueller made a mistake at the beginning of this lap, or is Thacker starting to kick it back into high gear, right? Has Thacker just been managing this gap the whole time? Has he just been playing with us up in the broadcast booth, or is he really struggling? That gap's back up to 1.6, so he's looking halfway decent right now.
He might be managing it. He doesn't want to be pushing full chat, right? Because that's a great way to send yourself off the racetrack and be in an even worse situation. So I might be just trying to manage it. Try to figure out where he's good and where he needs to back off a little bit. Pushing where he knows he is confident and then easing off a bit more in places where it's not so much.
Free to go. And, you know, I could definitely see that being the case, right? It's a very standard strat. You build up a great, sizable lead. You just start driving beneath your means ever so slightly to make sure you don't wreck it. But you don't want to be running 7/10 slower than the guy in second, right? They're going to catch you pretty quick, even if you got a 10-second lead. So just maybe giving up a little bit too much if that was his goal. It's kind of stabilizing in that 1.2 to 1.5 second range though now. So Thacker's obviously found something in the last lap or two to be able to keep this gap stable, but with 2.5 laps to go, The gap only 1.3. Bueller is absolutely there, and he's got a chance.
Oh, haul off the racetrack as he'll spit it out.
As Hall backs it back up and comes back on the racetrack. A little bit of a squirrely moment there. Worried about Justin Hall coming back on the racetrack, but big shout out to Crawford getting up to third. Gonna end up being a decent podium for him, or a really good podium coming from the back. Jake Kasich hanging on to fourth. Chris Bright doing a great job hanging on to fifth, right? Top five for Chris Bright currently with 2.5 laps to go. See if he can hang on to that with Brooks Clayton and Tyler Agostino not too far behind. That battle is not locked up yet. Honestly, anything from fourth on back to seventh could change hands. All these guys still under blanket. Oh man,
Good
Ron Wolf, last week's winner, head on into the barrier.
That was a violent hit that he took into the fence, too, right into the concrete.
Man, they need to extend that tire barrier. I hope it's not like that in real life.
It is.
That's that would
Well,
hurt.
it might not be. This is an old scan.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We need an updated Mid-Ohio Sports Car
Okay,
Complex.
to be fair, that is a very, very low-speed corner as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Most cars are built to crush well enough these days too. Might not be too bad, but still, man, you expect tire barriers to be just about everywhere. But hey, that battle for the lead, 9/10 of a second, 2 laps to go, and Bueller is in the draft down the straight.
But the draft can only do so much, and there's a bit of a curve in the straight, which does help to break that draft just a little bit. Oh, got one car off the racetrack behind. Chris Bright losing two. He'll lose Clayton, he'll lose Agostino. Three-way fight still on for the last spot inside the top 5, but right now it is eyes on the leaders. 90 seconds to go, and Thacker, again, can sniff this race win. He's just got to run a clean last 2 laps, and he should have this one in hand.
I know we're supposed to stay unbiased as commentators, but man, I'm really pulling for Aaron Thacker to close this thing out. I mean, he's just run such a good race, but he's wide. He's wide through Thunder Valley, through turn 9, and now the gap's down to half a second. I mean, this is a 10.5 second gap that has been absolutely erased, and he's missed another apex. Thacker is feeling the pressure. It's all over him.
He's making mistakes. You cannot make those mistakes. This is critical right now. Thacker, you gotta lock in, man. 1 lap to go. Bueller is there. It's a party for the lead.
Oh, coming down to turn number 1. Can Aaron Thacker hang on? The gap is gone. All that 10.5 seconds that he built up has completely been wiped off the board. Alex Bueller has done a hell of a job running him down this entire time. And don't count out the third guy on your screen either. Alex Crawford, 4 seconds back. Yeah, too far back to do anything if these guys stay clean, but if these guys get together, Crawford could be right there to pick up the scraps. Now, down the straightaway for the last time tonight, Bueller firmly within the slipstream. How far does that gap close down before we get down to turn 4?
He has got to do something. He has got to do anything to keep this car behind him. This is going to be an absolutely treacherous drive from him. He is struggling right now. Bueller is there. Bueller trying to go for a repeat win. Thacker still trying to hang on for the lead of this race. Half a second, Bueller can't close.
Oh, a little bit better of a corner there from Thacker. Bueller almost looked like he didn't know what he wanted to do. Kind of went for the move, but didn't really commit with the brakes and just did not get the exit he needed. But coming up to the last sector, he's closing it back down 0.3 of a second to the last couple of corners.
Aaron Thacker, Alexander Bueller, all going at it, trying to scrap it out, see who's going to take home the win. 2 more corners. Thacker, it's been 37 starts, 38, trying to go for win number 1. Bueller's there, but Thacker hangs on. Thacker wins his first beer league race by the smallest of margins, hangs on, and this is a feel-good day for the 816.
Oh my goodness, I thought Bueller was going to go for the bump and run. He raced him clean, he raced him respectfully, but man, he still had a chance coming out of that last corner. If that start-finish line is down towards turn number 1, this might be a different story, but it was just not meant to be for Bueller. How about Aaron Thacker hanging on whenever we thought that he was just laying down and giving it up? Aaron Thacker able to get his first win in beer league history.
And now we see the rest of the field coming across the line. What a wild drive we had this afternoon. Some drivers are pushing others to the stripe. I think Flams might have been out of fuel there coming to the stripe, and he was able to get pushed across by one driver behind him. But oh boy, What a ride. What an awesome moment here for Thacker.
I didn't expect to get that good of a finish whenever we saw Thacker get up to a 10.5-second lead. But Bueller did us a service, making that a close one.
Still got a few more cars coming to the stripe. I want to find out what happened to the 137, honestly, on that final lap there. That was a bit of a weird moment, and more so just out of sheer curiosity what happened to Chris Flams. He was pushed across by Corey Barrett. And, well, there's Flams here. We'll move this up a little bit more. This is a little ways back, so this is Flams.
Going down into the final sector. He's already out of gas. You can tell.
Yeah, out of gas.
A little slow already, going down to the inside, letting people go. Almost looked like Tucker was going to get behind him and push him. Yeah, it looks like
he is.
Yeah, it looks like he still helping him out.
Well,
Well, Flames look like he's under power. Maybe he had a slow
right
down.
there. He was clutching, coasting. Then Tucker pushed him clean. Good sportsmanship there from Tucker. I like that.
But Tucker got beat at the line because of it.
Well, remember though that Tucker was laps down because he had dropped out of the session, so he didn't lose anything by doing that. But good sportsmanship regardless for that.
Maybe a little bit of teamwork. I think they're on the same team, so little bit of intelligent teamwork there.
Well, all of that will take us to the end of a wild race, and Thacker can finally celebrate as he takes his first win of his beer league career. 38 starts, and finally a notch in the win column. Bueller was in second, Coffin in third, Kasich fourth, Plates in fifth. From there, it was Augustino, Bright, Freed, and Carlton for the top 10.
Finishing in the 11th place spot, Ben Williams. Great recovery from Ben. We saw him backwards multiple times tonight. Scott Fleming doing a good job coming back to 12th also. Shane Cameron 13th. Ron Wolf in the 14th place spot. Antonio Alvarez in his first race in beer league competition, finishing in 15th. Chris Flam 16th, Corey Barrett 17th, Greg Beckman in 18th, Evan Campbell 19th, and Eric Ronenberg rounds out the top 20.
Moving down through this field down to the tail end of things, it was another wild ride for the back half as well. With that, Joseph Elhot in 21st, Lee was 22nd, Castro 23rd, Harrison 24th. There, it was Verhulst, Hall, Brooker, Klein, Vietnam, Romano, for the top 30, and 27th on down, did not finish on the lead lap.
31st was Austin Tucker, 32nd, Jordan Babcock, Matthew Dupuy in 33rd, Kyle Smith, Carson Catlin rounds out the top 35, Chris Hannigan at 36, Tom Nadol 37th, Blake Gamble 38th, David Elkin 39th, and Stephen Purcell rounds out the top 40, or rounds out the 40 car field, excuse me.
Oh boy, what an emotional night, right? I mean, honestly, the fact that race went green is probably what allowed him to win that race. I don't see him winning that race if he doesn't get that code 60.
Agreed, 100%. If the field bunches up and he didn't have that gap, I mean, the way that Bueller was running at the end of that, I don't think Thacker would have stood a chance. I mean, that race played out perfect for him.